In a season that everyone hopes is certainly different than 2020, the 8-man football world begins tonight here in Antioch as the Lighthouse Christian School Lions, led by their new head coach in Shaun Bell, host for the first time ever in program history, the Freedom Cowboys. It's the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. The Freedom Cowboys from Huntsville, Alabama travel all the way to Antioch to face off against the Lighthouse Christian School Lions. Welcome to everyone watching around the world. Spencer Thompson, alongside Brendan Daniel, proud to be with you in Antioch, Tennessee, as we get you here in the Lions Den tonight, and debut for your first shot ever on our field camera. Exciting stuff and exciting innovations here. We'll get you a debut from our field camera. We'll get you our up-top shot in just a few moments. But again, Spencer Thompson and Brendan Daniel bringing you every bit of the action here from Antioch, Tennessee. No press box quite yet here in the Lions Den. They're planning on getting that in 2022 as budgets permit. And the 8-man football season officially is underway as to kick off the Freedom Cowboys will receive to start. And right to return and a flag and the first penalty of the season. First to do it return there from TJ L'Oreal. Looks like we got everything up and running here. And the block in the back on the return team, and the Freedom Cowboys will start out show here. So let me be the first to welcome all of you, Spencer Thompson, and to welcome you to his debut in the booth with 8-man football, Mr. Brendan Daniel.
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
We'll get him on camera for the Iceberg Heating and Cooling halftime report, but at least for now, start out with the Freedom Cowboys. So, Freedom, not the season they wanted in 2020. Closer to around a 500 record, started to improve a little bit. Start off with again to TJ L'Oreal, the sophomore. He starts out with a carry and a gain of about 4 yards. Freedom offense. Again, outside. Set of yards there. And this Lighthouse defense trying to stand strong. Originally going to be the Battle of the Bell tonight. That game rescheduled for the week of September 3rd. Particularly scheduled on Thursday, September 2nd. So right before get into the Labor Day holiday, or technically part of Labor Day weekend in those game festivities. And now 3rd down and 6. This time it's Oliver Johnson, the junior, who gets free to the left side, cuts around several players, and 8 finally stops him at the last second. As soon as Satterwhite from the Lighthouse got the stop there, and incredible stuff there.
That's a good offensive line hold right there, boys. A nice little gap right there.
And good stuff immediately. Again, a carry by Satterwhite. Satterwhite stopping the touchdown there. It's a carry by Oliver Johnson, the junior for the Freedom Cowboys. And now it's Freedom offense in their first time ever facing off against the Lighthouse Christian School Lions. They're just outside the red zone. The senior transferred over from Riverside Christian Academy. Players to field the team for the 2021 season. And we're looking forward to hosting a new season as Raymond Hunt carry there gets the first down. Looking very much forward to having a season. The ball is still loose on the ground, and covered by Cowboys. Got behind the line of scrimmage, lost several yards. Carry by Oliver Johnson.
Oliver with a wonderful little fake to that option.
And waiting for the indication.
I believe.
Raymond Hunt, the first touchdown as a Freedom Cowboy for him. Two-point conversion attempt. Freedom sometimes is that a field goal kicker. It looks like they don't have one this year. Going for the two-pointer. And toss to the right side of the end zone, overthrew his intended target of Will O'Neal. So Freedom will start out 6-0. Strike first here in Antioch. .854 left to go in the first. See what this Lighthouse offense is capable of, as this will go for a touchback.
What a kick.
One of the biggest stories going into this season for Lighthouse Christian School is their new head coach in Shaun Bell, and the athletic director for Lighthouse Christian School, the offensive coordinator formerly for Lancaster Christian Academy. His work throughout the 2020 season and prior to that with Lancaster Christian, of course, several playoff appearances, a consolation game win for them in 2018, getting to the semifinals in 2019, and of course the unfortunate end to the season last year that happened for him. We'll see as he makes a transition over to head coach. It's his first offensive play. This one's a carry from Colby Searcy. The senior has got space to the outside. And how about a way to start out your season? Touchdown, Lighthouse Christian with no flags on the field.
That was a great run.
Lighthouse strikes first. And going for the two-point version, no field goal kicker for them this time, and the ball pops out loose. Freedom's turnover with the two-point conversion being no good, and already, just like that, tied instantly. As we were talking about for the 2020 season and prior, Shaun Bell.
I'm good over here.
Shaun Bell, of course, with Lancaster Christian and all the different things that he had gone through in this point. But now to go into a new program and to try and set the culture early. I was talking with him a little bit earlier today, and one of the biggest things he mentioned, asked him, how do you, with Coach Bell, I asked him, how's that transition been going from the offensive coordinator position to head coach? He mentioned it's been, interesting that he still has his footprint on the offense, and it's been a big part of how he set the tone here. But one of the things he learned from his former head coach and Jason Bragg is that you can't be a micromanager. You have to delegate and let the rest of your coaching staff do their jobs and everything. But he gives a lot of credit to Coach Bragg of that he groomed me well and has given me a platform for success. As we start out again. This is Lorio, and a flag thrown in the back side of that kickoff return.
Looks like it might be a late hit to me.
So another penalty on the Cowboys on the kickoff return. Might be part of the rust that needs to be shaken off heading into the regular season and such, especially because Freedom Cowboys, they were not expecting to play a game tonight. This, of course, picked up last second because it was originally going to be the Battle of the Bell, and Freedom was not expected to have their first game of the season until next week when they were at the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors. So a lot of last-second transitioning and moving parts that really had to happen for a lot of transition stuff that had to happen for the Freedom Cowboys to get to this point.
Yeah, we're good on Junior, Kazam. We're good on mine as well.
Right now, the officials just working out. I believe a timeout was called on the field. So tied at 6, 8:30 left to go here in the first quarter. So now 8:30 left to go in the first quarter here after a timeout. And the Freedom Cowboys go on their second offensive drive, trying to respond as Lighthouse instantly did to their first score. This is a carry again by Lorio. Going to take carry here up the middle. They'll give him a gain of about 3 yards there.
I'm sure it's going to be tough to run because I'm pretty sure the defense believes that's all they can do at the moment. Because passing in this type of weather, it's going to be really tough for that quarterback to hold on to that ball.
Real quick, tell Junior to press display button on his camera.
Junior, press display on your camera.
And ball popped out almost a little bit and pops out that time, and I believe it's recovered by Lighthouse there.
Yeah, that's one of the bad things about running as well. You can't really hold on to the ball that well, so you might lose it there as well. But hey, that's what practice is for, right?
So at least it looked like Lighthouse fell on it. Referee on the side there had the best angle, ruled it was out of bounds. And Freedom retains possession, fortunately. Got a lucky break on that one. As this carry goes to the right side, and Raymond Hunt, weaving through that Lighthouse defense, gets a big gain for a first down.
I believe the defense had him at first, but I don't think they had him completely wrapped.
So new set of downs for Freedom as they start on their own 35-yard line. And this carry finally wrapped up and tackled. Looked like a carry there by Malachi Solly and stopped by Searcy. Gain of about 7. It's a rush-heavy offense tonight as we get a flag from the backside of the field.
I call holding on this one.
And you're right, Dozier gives holding to the offense there.
Yeah, you got to get in between them pads. You can't get out on the jersey, man. No, we do not.
Display port again. Press the display button again for Junior.
Junior, press display button. James, we do have picture up.
And this is a reversal to the left side. There's a carry there by Tristan Martone. And it looked like a little bit of shoving after the play there. Didn't look like it escalated anywhere, but a carry for,
Yes, sir,
for
James,
about
we do.
to 3rd down and 6.
Yes. Do a little dance, James. Do a little dance.
So about 5:20 left to go here. This clock winds down in this Freedom offense. Bases a 3rd down and 7. Third and 7 with another bit of motion on the play and an immediate wrap up and tackle there for the Lighthouse defense. A gain of about 4 yards there.
It's good grappling tackle. The offense is probably going to have to do something else besides motion. They already know they're going to have to run it. Maybe do some screen plays in there.
Across the 40-yard line for the Freedom Cowboys. Likely in this situation, you know, you could see a punt here. It's possible they could try some trickery with 5 yards to go, especially this deep into Lions, this deep outside of their own territory. More so at that outside of their own side of the field and closer to mid.
Looks like they're going for it. I think they're going to make it.
Coach Collins likes to take risks, and looks like they got him to jump off, either jump off or someone had a false start.
And that defensive line ain't looking at that ball. That's what you really got to look at for defense.
And that is an offsides. Question is, where will they spot it? It'll give them a first down on that.
Coaches have to reassure their defensive line. Wait till that ball moves. Do not listen to that quarterback.
One of the many things they can work on early on in the season, especially with this not counting for any playoff implications. That's a blessing in disguise for Lighthouse here, as they were originally going to play their division rival in Ezel Harding. Well, at least division rival now. the restructuring of the CSI AA, but that's a blessing in disguise for them that they don't open up the season with playoff implications on the line. But they've got a tough task ahead as this ball is carried for about 3 or 4 yards. It's a carry up the middle for Raymond Hunt. Here's a second down. It's a handoff and carry to the left side. Raymond Hunt again. Whenever he finds open space, he's going to make something of it. Another set of downs, and this time they're in Lighthouse territory.
Well, that's what makes a great running back. If you're patient enough to wait for that hole to get open, you're going to make it every time.
Especially for a star player like Raymond Hunt. He was the He was one of the key players for Riverside Christian's offense during the 2020 season and their campaign that led them to win the Division II championship game last year. That matchup against Franklin Classical and led them to the semifinals in 2019 against Ezel Harding. They got the victory over South Haven on the road. About 3:08 left to go here in first quarter.
I think you might take a chance on passing.
This will be their first passing play, so a second passing play of the game, and they find Golden, and what a catch! Good reception by Will O'Neill, the junior from Riverside, who transferred in, and he's got a big gain and a first down and goal for the Cowboys.
Bad way to hold that pass, and most people can't make that catch. They'd be worried about getting hit.
Here's a carry attempted by Lorio. Giving a lot of ball touches to Lorio thus far. And gain of 3 yards there for a second down.
Heck, he's doing a heck of a job. Why not keep giving it to him until they stop it?
And option there as Oliver Johnson tries to find space, trying to push towards the goal line. He'll be stopped short, about 1 or 2 yards outside of the goal line.
I'm sure Coach is nervous over there about his quarterback running all that.
You've seen a lot of running through by the Freedom Cowboys offense at this point. So maybe a bit nervous there, but Johnson, the junior, he's one of their leaders. So. And a touchdown for the Freedom Cowboys. Easy rush up the middle for Johnson.
Nice little swing fake. Just waltz on in. It's a nice little dance move.
And the Freedom Cowboys on their first 2 possessions have managed to punch it in for a total of 12 at this point. Trying to get a 2-point conversion here. 0 for 1 thus far. And pass there, incomplete. Second time they've gone with a passing attempt on a 2-point conversion. 2:14 remaining in the first quarter here. 12-6 lead for Freedom in the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Three, 2. Last time that 8-Man Extreme made the journey out to the Lions Den in Antioch, you have to go back to 2018, early on in the season. A lot has changed since then. That was when Sacred Heart made their return to then MTAC as ball lost by Searcy, and flags in the backfield.
That's a fumble as well.
And a fumble and a recovery there by the Freedom Cowboys, but we do have a flag down. You can see the Freedom sideline excited about that, but officials will confer here. Everything pending. See what Carson Dozier has to say about it. The block in the back on the return team, so that is declined.
Oh, boy.
And I believe Lighthouse still retains possession of the football unless, nope, they are giving the ball to Freedom. A good fumble recovery by the Freedom Cowboys, and chance for them to go up by 2 scores.
And a great spot for them to score. Beautiful.
Yeah, especially right outside of the red zone. So, as mentioning earlier, 2018, we were here for Lighthouse hosting the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights. It was when they were in then MTAC, now the TSIAA. Sacred Heart's still around, an independent team. So we'll try to cover them throughout the season as about 2 or 3 yards after contact there for Freedom Cowboys player. Got up to about the 13-yard line, make it now a 2nd down and 4.
He is running with some purpose. He is bulldozing through those defense, and he doesn't care who you are.
And there's another attempt to bulldoze through the defense. You're talking about yards after contact just on that previous play. Yet another great set of yardage there for TJ Lorio.
And kids, if you were watching this game, notice how he lowers his pads but keeps his head up. Always remember to do that as running backs, please, or you will end up getting a concussion.
Sure they teach that at the lower levels and everything, but you are right as always. No concussions.
Trying to just put my coaching hat in.
No concussions. Carried to the left side by Raymond Hunt. Getting to the outside. Raymond Hunt diving for the end zone and touchdown. Freedom up by 2 scores.
Good little juke moves by him. He's letting Freedom ring out here.
1:19 now. We're still in the first quarter, and it's already a high-scoring game as the Freedom Cowboys capitalize on the fumble recovery. And Raymond Hunt feeling on top of the world right now, and probably very excited with the teammates he surrounded himself with. A handoff, and Turf Monster, not the Turf Monster, but the Grass Monster got the better of the Freedom Cowboys there. No 2-point conversion attempt. 18-6. The Freedom Cowboys capitalize on the fumble recovery from the kickoff. As we welcome you back to the Lions Den. Just a little bit of time left to go here in the first. See how Shaun Bell and company respond to the fumble recovery on this previous kickoff that led to Freedom going up by 2 touchdowns here. And Searcy muffed the catch of the return there, but keeps it in his possession this time and over to the 20-yard line.
It's going to be a rough day for Lighthouse if they can't hold on to that ball. Cowboys already got momentum going.
Talking more with Coach Bell today about how of course with him being a new athletic director and that kind of stuff. I even asked him, how was it in the locker room with having, you're coming into Friday night, talk about that in a second, as that Freedom defense gobbles up Lighthouse.
Well, it's a bad snap, That's going to be one reason why they're going to gobble you up.
I was talking with Coach Bell about the players going into this game were thinking they were facing Ezel Harding, Battle of the Bell divisional matchup and everything. Asked him how the locker room had kind of felt about having to make that quick transition of, we're facing the Freedom Cowboys. He mentioned, they were fine. It was just discouragement at first from not being able to have a game. And they're glad that they could have such a quick turnaround, and personally gives credit to James Shannon on that one. And looks like we've got an injury on the field. Looks like Colby Searcy took his helmet off and just could not even stand up on his own feet. Looks like Coach Bell is going to look at him. We will step aside. All right, 18-6 as they're going to look at Searcy. Looks like he was able to get off the field and everything okay in that regard. As we get to the end of getting close to the end of the first quarter here, likely they're just going to run it out. And final seconds winding down as we are at the end of 12 minutes of play here in the Lions Den, and 18-0 right now. Freedom leads over the Lighthouse Christian School Lions. Perfect time to remind you that the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way, and by Fairlife, Core Power Protein. Work hard, recover harder. Start of the second quarter here in Antioch, 18-6. Freedom leading over the Lions. Sides of the field swapped. Let's see if the Lions can march it down the field and respond after that. And that Freedom defense not letting him respond, at least on that third down attempt. So fourth down deep in the Lions territory.
I think Freedom's well aware they're going to have to run the ball now that they got that sort of quarterback out. I'm sure the backup doesn't know much of the plays.
Especially this early on in the season and trying to go through all that coordination.
Just get like 5 or 6 waters.
Spencer Thompson,
like
Brendan
that.
Daniel on the call.
Yeah, something
with
like
you.
that.
Producer and executive director James Shannon next to me up here on the bleachers, along with
Just 5 or 6 waters.
with JJR, as we nicknamed.
No, it's Junior.
And also
just a junior.
Giving our best wishes to Audrey Green, who will be with us next week. I believe either next week or tomorrow. She'll be with us at some point.
Next week.
She'll be with us next week and giving us production notes from afar. Fun night so far. The rain holding off is a little bit rainy leading up to kickoff, but should be clear the rest of the night. At least fingers crossed it'll hold off for the rest of the evening for us as ball goes to the 49-yard line, and we'll see what the Freedom Cowboys can do if they're going to try to make this game get too out of hand, or if they are able to, or that Lighthouse defense is able to respond.
Sit over here not to follow the camera.
James, am I good on the angles and everything?
Yeah, you're great, dude.
All right.
You're good.
Just keep in mind, Brendan, your mic is hot, so it's going out to the broadcast whenever you're talking about stuff, so just let me know if you need to get cut off. All right, 3, 2. Now let's see what this Freedom offense can do as they are about to cross midfield, unless this Lighthouse defense has anything to say about it. First and 10, already up by 12. It's a direct carry by Joshua Butler, who's got a lot of space on the outside, finally forced out of bounds at about the 27.
It almost looked like the defense was completely confused because he had plenty of room to run anywhere, honestly.
The big first down gain for Freedom as they're knocking on the door of the red zone.
Just keep running the ball down their throats till they stop it.
Another handoff. Carry again by Butler. Butler escaping the defense of Lighthouse, and another touchdown for Freedom. 3-score advantage.
Ooh, Lighthouse is going to be a little rough. You can't stop that run. You had everybody in that box, but it wasn't good enough.
The Lions of Lighthouse did not participate in the Jamboree last week. I believe the Freedom Cowboys didn't have a hand in the CCS Jamboree either. I believe they had some scrimmages prior to, but two-point conversion attempt again. This is at least benefiting Lighthouse. No two-point conversion has been made thus far out of the 4 times that Freedom has passed the goal line. 24-6. 10:04 left to go before the end of the first half. Again, 24-6, the Freedom Cowboys starting to rack up the touchdowns, rack up the lead here. The Lighthouse defense thus far has not had any real response. They scored on their first drive of the game. fumbled the ball on a kickoff return, and now this is one of those times where Lighthouse has got to return it. Got to return it, which they won't for touchback, but they at least need to march it down the field for a score here.
Hey, smart though. Why not just take the touchback and just take the 20?
So 10:04 left to go here in the second quarter. This Lighthouse offense, of course, out Searcy at the moment. I believe he's still being looked at by the training staff. And stoppage here as looks like we'll likely get a false start. Lighthouse will start out this drive with a 1st and 15. Took a few seconds off of the clock for false start there, but here's 1st and 15. High snap, and this is going to go to the back of the end zone and fallen on by Christian Sharp, but another 2 points for Freedom. Safety.
And if you're the quarterback with that situation, no matter what, you got to pick up that ball and at least try to run it. I know coaches usually tell you when the ball's on the ground, dodge for it, but for that situation, when you're down this much, you got to pick it up and get out of there.
And usually the instruction on that side from what we've seen throughout the last several years is just to fall on it, but you're absolutely right about the awareness of surroundings there. Unfortunate for Lighthouse and for their center there, but again, the good news is this isn't a divisional matchup, so it does benefit in that regard. I was talking with Coach Bell as well about the challenge they had going into this game, and Bell was talking about they're thankful to have this game, and they were excited to play against one, in his words, one of the better 8-man teams in the country, and thankful to get a good test right out of the gate for our program at Lighthouse Christian. So for them, for Lighthouse, very optimistic here going into this matchup, even with the score being 26-6 right now. Now now the kickoff here to the safety. So Freedom gets it back for their defensive stand. Received that 35-yard line. Can they get a return for a touchdown? Here's Lorio, spins out a tackle. Still on his feet. TJ Lorio finally stopped. Sam King, the junior, prevented a touchdown, but TJ Lorio, my goodness.
I think I'm going to go ahead and call it. He might be the player of the game.
The coaches decide that, but I have a feeling that Coach Collins may share the same sentiment with you, assuming that the Freedom Cowboys hold out to win this ball game. As we wait for Carson Dozier, give us the call, believe a penalty after the play, as this ball will go back. Unsportsmanlike conduct called on the Freedom Cowboys.
Got to keep yourself in check when you get good yards like that. Come on now. Sure, coach is going to get into him about that, but hey, when you're playing this good, just let the boys ride.
So now they'll start out on the 30-yard line after the unsportsmanlike penalty. And this will be handed off. He's carried by Raymond Hunt again. Gain of about 6.
I'm telling you, Raymond Hunt's really placing himself on this team.
Found his place for sure with transferring over, especially because of the It's only, to my knowledge with Riverside, it was only, I think, about 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, that the Riverside players transitioned over to Freedom. So for that quick turnaround, for him to be looks like he's been immersed in the system for a while, as carry here. And Joshua Butler, once again, a flag from the far side. He gets the first down. Let's check the call.
That was a big face mask. I saw that one.
Likely they'll move it back here. Freedom looked like they got the first down. Face mask against the defense, so I believe that's tacked on to the end of the run for half the distance. So they'll move this over to the, spotted at the 7-yard line, it looks like. So first and goal for Freedom.
I'll not get a little tricky on this one.
As the lights start to shine brighter here in Antioch. There's an option, and carry up the middle finds the opening. Just shy of the goal line is Oliver Johnson. So there's no first and goal inches, but this is essentially second and goal inches. So close to passing the goal line here for the next touchdown. As they'll do the same option there on the left side. An easy touchdown for Oliver Johnson. And another score for Freedom.
It's going to be tough for Lighthouse to get back in this if they can't stop the run game.
After this extra point attempt, let me do a scoring update real quick. No, actually, hold off. Let me work on a graphic.
2-point conversion attempt. Freedom has not gotten a two-pointer so far in this contest. They had the safety earlier. No 2-point conversions have been successful here for Freedom. We'll see if they can change that here.
They'll get it right out the gut.
And a scramble, trying to find the option, and Brendan got the prediction right. 34-6 with 8:32 left to go in the first half. You can see,
Nope, it's gone.
you can see Jerry Jr. is having a little bit of fun with the camera shots.
We're all having fun with the camera shots.
All of us having fun up here in Antioch. Didn't catch it, but he got it close up with some of the players having fun with it. They enjoy the field cam just as much as we do. But 8:33 left to go in the first half. As we bring you what was originally going to be the Battle of the Bell between Lighthouse and Ezel Harding. That game delayed to September 2nd, and Freedom had the opening on their schedule and decided to have the first-time matchup against the Lighthouse Lions and travel up from Huntsville, Alabama. And so far it has been one-sided, but there's been some good moments from Lighthouse.
Junior, stop moving so much. Okay.
So as the Lighthouse offense gets set up here, there's a timeout on the field, looks like, but we will get you updates from the other. There are other games going on in the 8-man football world. We'll get you some updates on that pretty shortly. But we hand it over to our executive director, our producer, the man who wears many caps, literally and figuratively, James Shannon, with the scores around the 8-man football world.
Hey guys, down in Alabaster or Montevallo, Alabama. Of course, this is another game that you can watch on YouTube. You can have both these games going at the same time. How great is this life? How great is this world? Okay, so in Alabaster, if you're not watching, you have Evangel up on FCA 14-10. You currently have Lighthouse Homeschool. Yes, Lighthouse Homeschool leading North River Christian 27-7. And you have Christian Community up on the Tennessee Heat 18-0. That game is in the second quarter. The Lighthouse game is in the, let me double check. It is in the second quarter as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff, James. A lot of great scores from the teams we cover. As this ball is carried up the middle for about a yard or two for a second down.
At some point, I'll actually be able to focus on directing the shots. Not today, Satan. Not today.
As another play there and loss of about a yard or two for a third down and 12. This Lighthouse offense is just having a lot of struggles trying to get through and try to march down the field and everything, but it's a testament to how Coach Collins and his coaching staff have really gotten this Freedom defense up and running.
I gotta say, coaching this defense up must be great because they're doing a great job.
And another tackle for a loss as the Lions lose about another yard or two, so a fourth down deep in their own territory. We'll likely see another punt away. I was talking with Coach Bell earlier today and asking him, what's the biggest challenge you face what's the biggest challenge you face so far at Lighthouse with his new role as a head coach and the athletic director and everything? He's mentioned from staff, students to families, he said the biggest challenge is just getting people to understand how an all-around athletic program works. And his main concern has been installing a community and getting excitement funneled back into the program. And he's mentioned that the biggest thing he's about right now is just creating a culture. And you could feel it in the atmosphere here as well, that the culture is starting to get better. And it's especially tough on the football program with not having a championship come back to your school since 2014. It's certainly tough, but that's a big reason why the administration hired Shaun Bell, and be interesting to see how this program flourishes going into the next few years.
And it's like you said, the key word is culture to building up a program. Because if you don't have culture, you don't have an identity.
And it's especially, That's the one thing that can get difficult is right when you hire a coach or an athletic director, and that culture not being instilled directly, as Freedom gets stopped right about at the line of scrimmage for actually maybe a loss of a few yards, but it's that you can't see it right in maybe the first year or two. It takes time to build a winning culture. It takes time to build something.
Exactly. It takes time and patience.
And you got a third down now after Lighthouse defense getting a stop there. As you see, the sun almost completely disappeared here in the night sky here in Antioch.
Sun's basically gone, Spencer.
It's down.
You still see a little bit of
Oh my
sky.
gosh.
Still just a smidge.
You sure that's not Nashville?
Man, so technical.
As timeout called on the field here by the Freedom Cowboys. 5:21 left to go before halftime here in Antioch. .521 left to go in first half. As tossed to the left side, incomplete.
It was a good call, but you got to execute it better.
Freedom now facing a third down and long. Excuse me, a fourth down and 20 as they just update the down indicator there. Lighthouse defense making a stand, forcing a third and out. So looks like we'll see the first punt of the game for the Freedom Cowboys. This one goes way out of bounds, and they're going to spot it at the 43-yard line.
It's like both teams are going to have to work on that punting game a little bit.
Plenty of time throughout practice over the next week to get that done.
Absolutely.
The Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report is coming up in a little bit. We'll get you highlights and analysis from the first half, as well as get you official scoring updates from around the 8-man team's week cover. It's coming up as this ball is carried by Christian Sharp. Another storyline coming in today. Christian Sharp injured last year with his ankle. Got injured in practice early on in 2020, couldn't play the rest of the season, but now in his senior year, he's back on the field. He's ready to go. It's good to see him out on the field and getting some carries in.
James, you sure Junior's not on the field? What? You sure Junior's not on the field? It looks like he kind of is.
Hey, Junior, you're real close to the field, bud. Back up a little bit.
There's another carry by Lighthouse, and they do have Colby Searcy is back out on the field. Good sight to see after that apparent injury looked like he sustained earlier.
It's a good time to see him come back in. They're going to need him.
Especially when he just helped to move the chains for a first down.
Maybe him coming back in is going to light that spark for him to come back.
Especially down 34-6. Lighthouse offense needs to get some kind of spark going into the halftime locker room. And a lot of stuff for them to think about as carry there by Searcy trying to get through this Cowboy defense. Plows through to about the first down indicator, and they'll move the chains for another first down. You're right about that spark. Colby Searcy is exactly what they needed.
Exactly. You saw how he lost the ball, picked it back up, and got it going. If he can do that all game, I think they can come back a little bit. At the same time, he's got to take it easy because taking hits like that is going to impact him with that injury he had.
As they give a direct snap over, this one to Isaiah Steele. It's a gain of about 3 to 4 yards. Second and 8. Carry up the middle, flag on the field.
Big hole play. So bring him back.
And a holding call on Lighthouse.
You don't need those. You do not need those in a time like this. You want to score before half. It's going to be a rough game leading on.
As Lighthouse will get a timeout here. About 2:35 left to go before halftime. Freedom still leading. Second down and long. Lighthouse as Searcy finds an opening, trying to get past the last tackle, gets tripped up, and he'll gain the first down. Big gain there for Lighthouse, and Colby Searcy, again, a scary injury earlier, seems back to normal form.
Seems like he's not worried about it. I like the mental toughness in that kid. He's going to go far with that.
And a new set of downs inside of the red zone as trying to shave down the difference in the score. And on a new first down, try to push it up the middle and back to the line of scrimmage for no gain.
It's crazy how the mistakes are helping them progress, as in the usual plays are kind of like hurting them in a way.
Interesting how those kind of things work out at times.
Hey, it's football. You never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Carry to the right side. Here goes Searcy. It's tripped up again, but he'll have a first down. Have a first down and goal here for Lighthouse.
Looks like he's down again, though.
Searcy having a little bit of struggle there. Looks like he's trying to push through.
Junior, if there's a hurt player like that, don't zoom in on him. Don't put the camera on him. Give him some privacy.
And they resume the clock. Over 60 seconds left to go in the first half.
Hurt players.
Handoff up the middle. Christian Sharp to the end zone. Touchdown.
That's the way you get back into the game. Bulldozed in there, just like they did to y'all. That's one step closer to getting back into it.
Still plenty of time left on the game clock for Freedom if they want to get a score here. But at least for Lighthouse, they've got some new life sparked in them.
Get this 2-point conversion, stop the defense, head in the half. And I think you should be okay.
And the 2-point conversion is no good. 34-12 with 49 seconds left to go before the end of the first half. As we wind down before we get to halftime. Perfect time to remind you that the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by First Horizon, all things financial, and by Crutcher's Auto Repair, trusted by Franklin since 1980. And the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report coming up in a few moments.
FYI, we have 5 hours of record time with all the angles.
And this kickoff return by Freedom. It's a carry again to the left side. Oliver Johnson trying to get past the Lighthouse defense. Can anyone bring Oliver Johnson down? Finally stopped at about the 12-yard line. And Freedom has got another chance to score before the end of the first half.
Freedom said they are going to score. They're going to take this game home without any worries in the fourth.
Now Freedom with amazing field advantage inside of the red zone. As they have motion there, several flags. Looks like an illegal motion for the offense. And the call from Dozier. Yep, false start there.
Hey, Brendan, just in case Junior's blocked and his lead block and everybody else making a call, give me a shot of him from making. Thanks.
26 seconds left to go in the second quarter. And there's another passing play going towards the end zone, reaching up and trying to pull it back in and reach out for it, but incomplete. TJ Lorio just couldn't get the catch there.
That was quick thinking for the wideout, though. Way to punch it in so the interception doesn't happen and try to that second catch. I love it. That's what you want to see from your wideouts at all times. Protect the ball, but at the same time, try to catch it on that second time.
Here than it does here at times. And it switches quicker, too.
It's a reversal. Here goes Lorio. Finding the opening space, and Lorio to the end zone. Another touchdown for the Freedom Cowboys.
Just go ahead and call him the player of the game. Just go ahead and call it.
He's making a good case for himself. I'll give you that.
I don't think there needs to be a case at this point. At this point, we're just seeing who else is going to compete with him.
The sophomore is shining bright here in Antioch, Tennessee. Again, no successful.
I love my brother. I love my brother. Both of them.
And two-point conversion attempt is no good. 40-12 with 9 seconds left as we see the time wind down here in the first half. Just 9 ticks left on the game clock until we get to halftime, as this will be a touchback. Likely kneel down for Lighthouse unless they want to try to get a quick score. Long distance for them to try with this, but see if Shaun Bell wants to try something here.
Nah, just take that knee and just go to the half.
It's a lifesaver. The wide shot's a lifesaver.
Sometimes it's better safe than sorry, eh?
Going to you, Brendan.
Looks like Lighthouse will try something here with 9 seconds left. So a carry there as time expires. And that carry by Christian Sharp goes maybe a yard or two, but that's the end of 2 quarters. Freedom came out swinging, and they're now up 40-12. We'll be back in a few moments for the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report. You're watching the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week on 8-Man Extreme.
Yeah, break.
Welcome to the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report. I'm Spencer Thompson alongside Brendan Daniel. Again, proud to be with you in Antioch, Tennessee. 40-12 is the score here in the Lions Den. The Freedom Cowboys, not a game they were expecting to play tonight, but they've come out swinging. They look as if they've been practicing for several weeks and had a jamboree to experience with prior to. This Freedom offense just really impressive here, as well as that Freedom defense getting multiple fumble recoveries and turnovers.
Absolutely. The coach seems like he's had the boys ready since day one. I'm honestly impressed, especially by the running game. Lighthouse can't seem to stop it at all. The coach has to tell them, stop and wrap up the player at all times. That's the only problem I'm seeing with Lighthouse, is they're not completely wrapping, they're just arm tackling. You got to get the running back down or else he's going to run on you all day.
Yeah, and Shaun Bell almost had a scare with their starting quarterback being injured there a little bit, but he's back in the game. He looks strong, and it seems as if any time he's at the helm of that offense is when Lighthouse is most successful. How does the offensive line and the rest of their team center around Searcy? How do they center around him and put him in successful positions in the second half?
Well, it's all about helping him out, giving them the right blocks, doing the right plays, catching all balls, and making sure that ball's in contact when you get that handoff. Because if you're really just basing off him, trying to get him to go and get all the plays, it's not going to work. You're going to hurt him, and he is going to be gone possibly for the whole season. And then you'll have to just work with the backup. And as we all know, sometimes the backup is not completely ready, but you'll get him ready about mid-season.
You having fun so far, Brandon?
I'm loving this. I am loving this. Again, please subscribe. Hit the bell, guys. We need you guys.
We haven't even had him on board for maybe a month or 2 months, and he's already fully in the shameless self-promotion mode. James has tainted him a little bit, but let's go ahead and get you some scores from around the league. As you look here, Christian Community leads 18-0 over the Tennessee Heat up in White House. The Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors are on the road at North River Christian School, 34-7, and the Evangel Lightning, the three-time national champions, lead 20-10 over Franklin Christian. Thank you for watching the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Halftime Report. We're going to send you to a commercial break. We will be back in about 9 minutes here in the Lions Den. Welcome back to the Lions Den. There's your scores for so far in the second quarter. 18-0. Nothing's changed from what we reported at the end of the Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling halftime report. 18-0, Christian Community leads over the Tennessee Heat. 34-7, Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors lead over North River Christian School Patriots. And the Evangel Lightning, three-time defending national champions, are leading 20-0 over FCA. And just again, a warm welcome to all of you watching around the world. Spencer Thompson alongside Brendan Daniel, our executive director, James Shannon, helping to run the show, and joined by Jerry Jr. on the sidelines, and a nod, of course, to Audrey Green, who will be with us next week as we continue. We have our debut tonight, the first game of the 2021 8-Man Extreme broadcast season. Got another game tomorrow night as the South Haven Christian School Patriots in Springfield. They will host the Zion Christian Academy Eagles in Zion's first 8-man football game in their respective history. They're taking over the schedule for Riverside Christian, with them dropping out. Be sure to stick around the entirety of the game. Be sure to stick around, because we will have the Fairlife Core Power Protein post-game report. We'll have the player of the game get an interview with the victorious coach. Barring a miracle, we'll be interviewing Coach Collins, and per Brendan, of course, and pretty much lock at this point, unless any miracle, TJ Lorio will be the true player of the game. But maybe Coach Collins has somebody else he has in mind. Who knows? But Lorio, you're right. He's made a solid case.
I put a bottom dollar he's the player of the game. If not, I'm willing to quit right now.
You're absolutely right. So again, 40-12. See if Lighthouse can make it back here, as it's now a 28-point game, and we'll get a return from Lighthouse as this carries a twist and turn. That's a return back by Jesse McCormick, the freshman. As we'll see if how Lighthouse responds. It looks like they're going to get in some more of their other players on the roster, go to test with their freshmen and everything. Maybe not necessarily giving it in at this point, but trying something different.
At this rate, it's best to do that. Go ahead and get your young guys some experience while you can.
Of course, with Lighthouse Christian, they have, looks like 2 8th graders on the team. The freshmen, they are plentiful right now in seniors and juniors. So they have a lot of leadership to lean on going into this year and next. As it looks like Freedom, I believe, recovered a fumble. You can hear the celebration from there. It's either that or they got a big stop on the left side.
Looks like just a big stop. I don't think it's a fumble.
Nope, they're moving the chains. Freedom got the recovery.
Oh, man. Well, it's going to be rough for Lighthouse for sure, especially coming in the second half.
And again, just a reminder to those of you who are not familiar with the Tennessee rules. To my knowledge, at least with the TSI-AA, the score is 35 points or more in the second half. 35 points or more, and there is a running clock. So right now it's a 28-point lead, so another touchdown, and if Freedom can get a 2-point conversion, it would start that process. Of course, the hope for the Lions is that their defense can get a stop here as flags fly for a false start. Probably get Carson Dozier on mic at some point later on in the season, but move it back 5 yards for a 1st and 15. Again, a special thank you to all 52 of you watching here.
Make sure you tell your friends to watch too, guys. Come on. We need more watchers.
And yes, Christian Sharp shoulder injury. That's what it was. Thank you. Left side, there's a carry by Cale Carpenter. The junior gets the carry and a touchdown for the Freedom Cowboys.
You punch that clock in. I'm telling you, these running backs, boy, they're going to be unstoppable this year. I can already tell.
Wonder what's in store for the Freedom Cowboys as they go throughout the rest of the season, especially with how well their production has been tonight. And at least for Freedom, you look at their schedule. Of course, they picked up this game. They have a back-to-back edition of playing teams with Lighthouse in their name. They play the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors next week. Then they host Christian Community for their first home game. Then they go to the Ezekiel Academy Knights. Got East Central Homeschool on the road, and then they host Evangel September 17th before they have a bye week. So at least at this point, you got the two-point conversion attempt here. Toss the right side, and two-point conversion is good. First one made tonight for the Freedom Cowboys at 48-12. But you look at Freedom's schedule, they've got now 6 weeks straight before a bye week instead of 5 what they had earlier. Of course, there are other teams that do that sort of pattern as well, where they usually don't have a bye week until deeper in the season. But 48-12. (48-12). 10:56 left to go in the third, and the question is when the clock will run as that kick squibs and goes out of bounds. So flag there for the kick going outside, and 10:52.
Usually when you do a squib kick, you expect the player to pick it up a little bit. But hey,
if it's starting to bounce out of bounds, just let it go.
Yeah. With their history of muffing the ball, might as well just let it ride.
We'll see how this Lighthouse offense responds.
Hopefully they hold on to the ball this time and get some production going.
36-point lead for Freedom right now. 6 touchdowns exactly. As they get a carry for a few yards there. And last year, not the season the Freedom Cowboys wanted. They had a tough, around a 500 record or a little bit better than that. One of the more, in the Freedom Cowboys history, they've never had to my knowledge, they've not had a losing season. At least every year they've had close games where if they're closer to that 500 mark, it's because of the close games they've had. But last year was a struggle for Coach Collins and company. But at least the way they're looking now against Lighthouse here, especially with bringing down Sharp in the backfield, Freedom looking very dangerous going into the rest of the season.
They're ball hawking every time. They know who is going to get the ball at all times. I've been seeing that a lot.
And you look at Lighthouse's schedule for the rest of the year. Of course, they were going to play Ezel Harding tonight, but they have their first division game next week. They're back here in the Lions Den. They host the South Haven Christian School Patriots as Christian Sharp gets a rush, gets some yards back. About 4 to 5 yards short of the first down marker as we head into 4th down. Likely, of course, they'll go for it here, but
you have no choice.
For Lighthouse, they have their first division matchup hosting the South Haven Patriots. They travel to Lancaster, which that'll be a big game in the return to Lancaster for Coach Shaun Bell. And then they host Ezel Harding is rescheduled on September 2nd before they head into a bye week. So not as big of a break, or not as big of a stretch as Freedom in terms of games each week, but it's a tough stretch for them, especially with their first division matchup against South Haven next week. As we get a turnover on downs here. Turnover on downs, and not getting close enough, and the Freedom Cowboys take over on offense, trying to rack up another touchdown.
At this point, put your young guys in. Let them get some reps in. This is a great time.
About 9:09 left to go in the third. And about the 40-plus player rosters, we got a flag on the field, I believe for delay of game, but with more than 40 players on the team for the Freedom Cowboys, it certainly is the time for them to get their second string players warmed up. And you wonder, with over 40 players on the team, if Freedom will start incorporating more 11-man games into their schedule. They've got plenty more than enough to play 8-man football. They've got more than enough at substitutions to field an 11-man team. It's a carry here by Cale Carpenter. The junior gets a carry to the right side and will be stopped out of bounds at the 23.
That's a nice truck by him, too. Put the boy right on his butt.
It's now a first down and 10 Freedom. Another gain there, and they continue to run the clock. As this Freedom offense knocks on the door of the red zone. There's a carry up the middle. Now about second down and 7. And you think as well for Coach Shaun Bell, I mean, he had a tough challenge if he was going against Ezel Harding in his first game of his coaching career. And even especially with picking up Freedom, it was even more of a tough challenge. As you get another carry to the right side. That one again by Cale Carpenter. But for Coach Bell, had a tough challenge whether he was facing Coach McGee or Coach Collins. And now tonight, 12 points against the Freedom Cowboys. Nothing too much should be upset about at this point. And especially from what we've seen throughout the game, Brendan, it's certainly mistakes that can easily be corrected as the season progresses.
Absolutely. But, hey, that's what practice is for, and it's only the first game. So why not go ahead, see your mistakes, see what you need to fix, and get right on it after you practice.
Nathan Ogletree, the senior, taking the carry there. So that'll be a first down and goal on about the 3, actually spotted at the 2-yard line. Now Freedom looking to get another score in as the clock continues to wind down. I believe they are running the mercy rule at this point. And certainly if Freedom gets another touchdown here.
Have to with this, right? Please be nice to these kids.
As they try to pass the goal line, a touchdown for the Freedom Cowboys.
Keep running it up the gut. They're going to have good running backs for years on to come, I tell you what.
They do stop the clock at 7:12. And for the Freedom Cowboys being a homeschool program, they travel pretty well. You see the flag waving there for Freedom. Their fans come out in droves no matter how far the distance is from where they're traveling. And see the cheerleaders for them traveling as well. Even with a last-second game for them to come up to Antioch, they traveled pretty well. 2-point conversion attempt, and this one tipped at the last second, no good. So 54-12 with 7:12 left to go in the third. Freedom leading over Lighthouse. Kickoff here. It started immediately upon kickoff, so I believe the clock go down to 7:06. So I guess with this game, they're choosing not to run the mercy rule at this point. Maybe they will when it gets to the fourth quarter, but at least for now, they're going to keep it stopped and everything. But
that's great, though, at the same time. Good time for the coaches to get their young guys reps in. Like I said, this is the wonderful time. It's 54-12. Why not? Get your stars some rest, get them ready for the next game.
especially with Freedom with their next game against the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors on the road. They're doing a decent amount of traveling in the next 2 weeks before they have their first home game of the year against Christian Community. And they are running the clock now, so it looks like they will run it down just to try and wrap things up here in Antioch. A little bit of ways to go as this ball is carried by Cyrus Satterwhite. As he's getting through several players there. You can see the jumping on the sideline by the Lighthouse coaching staff. Cyrus Satterwhite, the sophomore, what a run all the way to the 50-yard line. As you hear many whistles blowing as they are stopping the clock. 6:27, but
surprised they didn't get him for unsportsmanlike conduct with a little jabber there.
Didn't see it, but they stopped it because there's a flag on the play in the backfield. So it's like a good run by Satterwhite, but they're going to bring this back probably for a holding.
I'm sure Satterwhite's going to get on his offensive line about that one.
I'm sure Coach Bell is going to have a few things to say about that in practice this week.
He's on his way to you.
And now they do resume the clock with the penalty enforced, and another flag flies.
I'll start. Young offensive lineman, you cannot move. Just as coaches are going to tell them that during practice, do not move, and they're probably going to run for that as well.
Flag is lifted. They waved it off.
How lucky for the offensive lineman.
I think the offensive line will be running in practice a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I'll be running the line. I've been there. And I wasn't even offensive lineman.
Hopefully not too much in this Tennessee heat right now, as it's another carry to the right side, another big rush as it gets up to about the 34-yard line. Carry there from Cadence Melendez, the sophomore.
You tell him he got his back. He'll get it for him again.
The handoff. Sharp again. Sharp is not able to get past that Freedom defensive line. They've been on him all night.
He looks like he's injured as well.
And they're going to look at Sharp with 5:32 left to go in the third. We will step aside for an injury timeout. 54-12. They're looking at Christian Sharp on the sideline. Training staff will take a look at him.
Training staff has the work cut out for them this day.
Between Searcy and Sharp and some of the other players, it's been an active night for them in the first week of football. Just hoping that everything's okay with both of them. As toss to the right side and incomplete, just through the hands of Elijah Barga, senior, and incomplete there.
He has to know, get both hands up, not just one. This is not the NFL, buddy. You're in high school.
Sometimes we've seen some good one-handed catches like that, but it's very rare.
Only if you have the confidence. And, you know, the ball's not too wet. You know, that's the problem as well.
Yeah, fortunately, no rain or mist at the moment. Right now in Antioch, a cool 75 degrees here. As quick toss, incomplete. Right now, 74 degrees in Antioch, partly cloudy. Only a 15% of chance of rain going throughout the rest of the night, so looks like it's going to be pretty clear. As the clock continuing to wind down here in Antioch. There's a scramble again. Sarah Satterwhite gets some space out to the 40-yard line. Down to about the 38.
Satterwhite's trying to put his name in for a little starting if the quarterback's still down.
You see some good plays here for You're seeing some good plays here for Lighthouse, unfortunately too little too late at this point. Getting some good reps in with their backups. I believe Freedom has got some of their backups in as well, so you're seeing now some of these second-string players on both sides that are staying pretty competitive with each other. As there's a quick toss, catch is made. Looks like it's by Melendez, who's got space open. Cadence Melendez, the sophomore, is going to score for Lighthouse.
That was a good catch. See, he caught the ball, concealed it, ran away with it. Love it.
Make that now 54-18. Now, if a two-point conversion is scored, that takes it out of that 35-point mercy rule. Lighthouse has had more success on that. Two-point conversion attempt here, finding space to the left side. Two-point conversion is good. Carry in by Satterwhite. 54-20. 4:03 left to go in the third. Freedom still leading. Kickoff after the touchdown as the Cowboys try to make their return. It's going to be a carry by Raymond Hunt. Weaving through the defense easily and gets up to about the 46-yard line. As we get down to now 3:46 left. It looks like Freedom will try to get some of those second string, probably to third string at this point on their players. Again, 40-plus young men on the roster for the Freedom Cowboys, so they got a lot of players to work with, a lot to cycle through.
And the key is to telling them, just play this like a normal game. It's still 0-0.
The high snap there and falling on Ogletree getting the recovery. And there's an offsides call on the defense, so even if that play had happened like that, it's still a turnover. Excuse me, first down and 5. Would not have been a turnover.
Tell you what, it's going to be a rough practice for Lighthouse. It's going to be a rough practice.
Especially leading up to their division opponent in South Haven. And prior to this game having the circumstances that it did, I believe James predicted Lighthouse to be the #1 seed in the North. As a catch there by Freedom Cowboys. A catch, a reception there. That's Dylan Wright, the junior, who heads all the way to the end zone. Another touchdown for the Freedom Cowboys.
Great pass, great play. Way to run that ball hard.
40-point lead now for Freedom. I believe with these scores and these touchdowns, they're trying to get back to Huntsville sooner than later.
I bet they're wishing they called the game right now.
Some of them might, but I'm sure the second and third string players right now are having fun.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully hopefully some of the Lighthouse personnel are having fun as well, especially with seeing their young guys get some reps in. Such an incomplete pass intended for Dylan Wright. It's now 60-20. I believe that James predicted that Lighthouse was going to go #1 seed in the North, and we'll see how it goes because this isn't a division matchup. There's a chance for them to shake off some rust, get real-time game reps in because there's only so much that squad-on-squad scrimmages can do. But at least at this stage right now, there's a decent amount of work that Coach Shaun Bell and company have to do to get their players up to speed, especially against the runner-up for the state champions last year in the South Haven Patriots.
Absolutely, but you want a game like this. Rough, tough, nice little hit to the face. So that way for the next game, you can get ready and you know what to expect from here on out.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but it was like Coach Bell was telling me is that the players are really excited to still have a game and believe that this matchup against one of in his words, one of the best teams, one of the best 8-man football teams in the country, go against the Freedom Cowboys to get the repetitions in and just to figure out where they kind of stand in the 8-man world. It's a good measurement for them for sure. And again, there are some teams who have just been blown out by Freedom in the past or have been shut out completely with no points on the board. So for Freedom, the Lions to score 20 points here, especially at home, because Freedom travels really well, as we've realized through their record over the years. They travel really well. So for Lighthouse to get 20 points so far, potentially get some more on the board, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
You can tell with this team, there is no such thing as home court field here.
And you can see it looks like some of the lights are not on here at Lighthouse. Not affecting the game heavily, which is the positive side. You see some of that on the farthest side of the field where the end zone where Lighthouse is trying to go towards. There's just some lights out there as looks like we got another flag down.
All start maybe?
So 1st and 15 with the false start. And there's a scramble there. Looks like again Satterwhite Looks like Satterwhite is getting some good quarterback reps in here. Maybe you could even say some good reps for a running back.
I'll tell you what, he's definitely like, hey, Coach, I need that time. I need that time.
Get some good repetitions in there for Satterwhite. He's certainly earning his stripes tonight. 2.5 left to go in the third.
I have to turn around and give him player of the game if he keeps scoring.
He got 40 points to go if he wants to have that player of the game. At least 40 points to put them in a chance for that. There's deep toss to the right side, and what a catch! Reception there for Lighthouse's Elijah Barga, the senior, with a touchdown.
If he's not the second string quarterback, he is now. I tell you that right now. That was a wonderful throw, and he has a bright future ahead of him.
And toss to the end zone, incomplete. So now 60-26. Freedom still leads over Lighthouse. .2:11 left to go in the third quarter here in the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. Freedom and Lighthouse. As it goes down to about the 10-yard line. And carry on the right side down to about the 15-yard line. As it takes it down to 157. So 34-point difference here. So the Mercer will not enacted. Unless, of course, both coaches mutually agree to run it. Left side, carry there. And again, you're seeing the light difference on this side. I'm sure that in the week leading up to the South Haven home game, they'll get those repaired.
Hopefully, these night games are going to be hard to see.
About a minute and a half. It looks like Freedom is going more of a hurry up style. As they're going to take a rush to the right side. This is Nathan Ogletree. Carrying it to the right and finally stopped by several Lions.
I know you can barely see it, but if you look very closely, that defense is trying to get that ball out. They're trying to get turnovers. It's like the second string is still trying to at least try to give them a game going.
About 60 seconds left in the third. As the ball is loose, and it looks like the Lions fell on it. Fumble recovery for Lighthouse.
A little teaching for the young guys. Get that ball tucked in. This is why you get your reps now.
And toss to the left side, incomplete. Takes off about 2 seconds. As Lighthouse tries to get the carry here, just takes it directly for a rush going out of bounds. And looks like the clock will continue to wind down. Maybe get one more play in before the end of the third quarter. As they'll take this carry left side. I believe it's Satterwhite again. Tries to get through, but several flags down, and then Lighthouse offense trying to get another score in the end zone with 8 seconds left in the third. Looks like they do have a player down on the field. Face mask called on the Freedom Cowboys. So half the distance to the goal on that, so no injury. Looked like there was somebody down on the field, but 8 seconds left in the third.
Probably the first mistake we've seen out of the Cowboys defense all game.
One of few. Likely the final play of the third, and brought down for a sack. The ball loose. Backfield, the Freedom Cowboys get the fumble recovery as time expires in the third. What a turn of events when Lighthouse looked like they were going to get another score.
As a young quarterback, you got to just go down with it. Just take that sack, take that loss, and go to the fourth.
12 minutes remain here in Antioch. 60-26. Freedom leads over Lighthouse in the Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week. The Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Week is sponsored by Kingdom.com, the ministry technology provider, Crumble Cookies, enjoy to every last crumb, and by Iceberg Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Services for every season, as you see the incomplete pass there, and takes down 6 seconds off the clock, and likely just the time to get the very third string and beyond players into the game just to get them all reps and everything. But Brendan, it looks like T.J. Lorio probably going to get an extreme player of the game, as you mentioned. Haven't had anybody else who's really popped out as much for the Freedom Cowboys, but Coach Collins has the call on that. hopefully he agrees with you, and likely the rest of our viewers. As incomplete pass intended there for, I believe, 37 of the Freedom Cowboys. Yep, there's a 37 there. Don't have him on our roster, but anyways. 11:49 left in regulation.
I feel like Coach should just put him in to just stamp it for him.
Probably. It's a long way for them to stamp it in at this point, but here's a chance now. Just carry by, I believe, Raymond Hunt going on the right side. Excuse me, that was Cale Carpenter with the carry. And now the clock is officially winding down. They're just going to continue to wind it down. So in about 12 minutes' time, this game will be over. Be sure to stick around for the Fairlife Core Power Protein post-game report. Get an interview with victorious coach Kyle Collins. We'll feature the extreme player of the game. They'll get to sample some Core Power Protein on air, give them a shirt, and get some questions with them. And then Brennan and I will wrap it up and preview South Haven hosting Zion for tomorrow night's Kingdom.com Extreme Game of the Weekend. There's a a catch by Will O'Neill, the other player who came from Riverside. Will O'Neill heading down the right side. Touchdown prevented by Lighthouse's McCormick. And what a play by Will O'Neill, the junior.
Way to catch, way to not go down, stiff arm to him. Way to just run that ball almost to the end zone. Yeah, they only have 1 against 1.
Again, one of 2 players who came from Riverside Christian after they had to fortunately cancel their season due to lack of players, but combining with the Freedom Cowboys, sure Will O'Neill and Raymond Hunt, at least for one night, they are enjoying the camaraderie they have with Kyle Collins and the rest of his team.
I'm sure they stamped their place on this team for sure.
Muff snap in the backfield by Ogletree as tries to make something of nothing and does by getting a gain of about 1 or 2 yards.
Way to get back at least to the scrimmage and gain 1 yard. That's great. Coaches will love to see that every time.
I actually credit him here for a gain of 3 yards, so a little bit more than I expected. 2nd and 7. As they rewind the clock, and there's a carry in the backfield. Finally brought down at about the 15-yard line.
Quarterback has to be very decisive on that. It looks like he didn't even want to give it to him at first.
You can still feel the environment here in Antioch for both sides. You hear the encouragement still from the Freedom Cowboys fan base and even some from the Lighthouse fan base anytime a touchdown or a big play on either side. So even with it being a lopsided score, it's a very encouraging and positive environment here in Antioch.
These are real fans out here. You got to still encourage your guys. You got to encourage the young guys no matter what. Rep your team at all times because they're going to need it in the future.
Especially like the shirt from one of the Freedom Cowboys fans here that says, "A good day to be a Freedom Cowboys fan." Certainly is a good day for them today as they lead by about 34 points here on the road. And movement there, that'll be, I believe, a offside.
Again, you got to wait till that football moves. You cannot listen to the quarterback. Block him out.
You can see the smoke kind of settling in from the concession stand, making its way over to the field of play.
Must mean that's some good food over there.
You mentioned that. I'm starting to get a little bit peckish.
I ate a big meal before I came here. I was smart for that.
Yeah, haven't eaten since lunch, but perfectly fine. It's now about 8:35 left to go here in regulation. As they stop play again, I believe a false start or an offsides here. Carson Dozier and crew
I'm gonna go
staying on top of it.
I'm gonna go off sides. I don't see anything on the offensive side.
And the crew from the Mid-State Officials Association, even with it being lopsided here, staying on top of it and making sure that the penalties are sliding by.
Or they might just be correcting the placement of the ball.
Yep, looks like they did. As they're going to toss it towards the end zone, a little bit overthrown for their intended target.
A bit too much mustard on that.
I believe Bram Day was the targeted sophomore on that. And they got about 8:28 left to go here in regulation. As they're still stopping the clock because of it being 34 points now. We're letting it run a little bit earlier, but as we'll just take a quarterback keep to the right side. That's Nathan Ogletree again, who finds a space on the left, and another touchdown for the Freedom Cowboys.
Good run. Way to be patient with your blocks. Just walk in with a nice little touchdown. Run the score up, boys. Run that score up.
Maybe not necessarily run the score up. I mean, they're doing that right now, but probably just giving some of their third-string players and deeper into their roster, giving them the reps and the experience in game that they want.
Like I said before, the coaches, I'm sure, is just saying, hey, it's tied up around here. Just play like it's a usual game. We're not ahead, they're ahead. Get us back.
Business as usual. Even if it's a 40-point lead. Make that 42. 68-26. Clock winding down here with the mercy rule. Stopped at 7:53. (68-26). The clock continuing down on your 7 minutes. We're closer and closer to the Fairlife Core Power Protein post-game report. Get you, well, give our final thoughts. We'll get an interview with Coach Collins first. Get an interview with the extreme player of the game, which more than likely going to be TJ Lorio. And Brendan and I will wrap it up here and preview South Haven and Zion for their matchup tomorrow in prime time. First game for Zion Christian in 8-man football, and first game of the season for South Haven in. Time to hand it to my executive director and executive producer James Shannon with the latest around the 8-man football world.
Hey guys, down in Alabaster, down at Evangel Sports Complex, the Lightning lead the Falcons 34-17. Up in White House, it's a final. Christian Community 18, Tennessee Heat nothing. And in the third quarter, Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors are up on North River Christian 35-14.
And nothing yet from Grace Baptist as far as
nothing from let me check.
As he'll look at the Grace Baptist score, you see the kickoff return attempted there. Actually, what was there during the scoring update. It's now 5:40 and winding down with that first down attempt incomplete. And second down, 5.5 left. As far as we're aware, no major updates for Grace Baptist when they were facing off against the Bradley Knights. Last update we got was about 3 hours ago, where Grace Baptist was leading 24-0. Last update we had there. And a lot of high-scoring games around the 8-man football world tonight. A lot of one-sided games. Closest one we have is down in Montevella with the lead over. But
CCS and Heat was only 18-0.
a lot of one-sided games. CCS Heat was 18-0, but still one-sided and blowout there, and so a lot of interesting stuff around the first week of 8-man football as we continue to wind down and down here in Antioch. Like we mentioned earlier, Lighthouse has got a home game next week, but it's more impactful on their route to try and get to the Division I playoffs. Be facing off against the South Haven Christian School Patriots. Of course, Coach Sawyers and company, they've lost several seniors from their 2020 roster. The question is, how have they reloaded in the offseason? We'll find that out tomorrow night. Their matchup against Zion Christian as we get under 4 minutes left in regulation.
You should say something.
Also, congratulations as you see again, a good action from Satterwhite. Gets out to the outside. Congratulations to the Tennessee Titans on their preseason victory over the Atlanta Falcons, 23-3. I can already hear a premonition for Sunday after the predictions. Just like James' predictions, it's preseason for the Titans. No, we were talking about this off air, Brendan. How do you feel about the Super Bowl being moved to the second Sunday of February and them just not moving back the regular season 1 week?
I mean, I'm not really mad at it. They're doing it for certain reasons. You know, I think they added an extra game.
They have
to the
17
season as well.
games.
Yeah, so I think it's a great idea. It gives them a nice little break for the Super Bowl contenders. You know, because usually it's like 1 week and then you're going straight at it. So it gives them more time for the guys to chill, relax, enjoy the family time, and then they go out, practice, or whatever.
I think they still have the same amount of break with the Pro Bowl being before the Super Bowl, so it's only that technically 2 weeks in between the conference championships and the Super Bowl. It's just that they moved it back because of adding that regular season game, because the NFL still wants to start their season, I believe, the week after Labor Day. But
I believe they need to get rid of the Pro Bowl, if you ask me.
or make it to where it's just as entertaining as the other All-Star games in other sports. Like the NHL does a really good job. NBA All-Star game is entertaining. MLB All-Star game is even entertaining. I think it's just the Pro Bowl. Still a nice thing to witness. It's just not up to the level that the other All-Star games have got.
Yeah, just meet Spence at the bottom of the ramp.
As we get to a minute and a half left here in the
at the bottom of the ramp.
Game. You can hear the Cowboys cheerleaders are still ecstatic as ever, and
guys from Chattanooga, we have a first. The final score: Grace Baptist Academy 106, the Bradley Knights nothing.
I believe that's the first game that's ever gone to triple digits in 8-man football in the state of Tennessee, to my knowledge. Come pretty
No,
close.
there were a couple back in the day with FCA when they were dominant. Like FCA Heat was like a 90-20 kind of game.
It's close.
I literally I texted the head coach. I said, "Are you for real?" He goes, "Yes."
At least he clarified it for you. At least he knows how crazy that sounds.
Putting everybody else on notice, like, hey, we're going to run the score up on you guys, so get ready.
And not even a single point for the Bradley Knights, but congratulations to Grace Baptist on that victory. And As we
That's how
wrap it up here, congratulations to the Freedom Cowboys for a game that they were not originally scheduled to play. They got it done on the road, 68-26. They get the victory
10-4.
over the Lighthouse Christian School Lions.
Brennan,
Stick
Brennan,
around for the
you're with Spence.
Fairlife Core Power Protein post-game report. We'll be back in a few moments.
Hey, the cooler
here
is to your
on
left,
A-Man Extreme.
Brennan. Spencer, he's live.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my first number is.
Welcome everybody to the Fairlife Core Power Protein postgame. I'm here with Coach Collins and the extreme player of the game, TJ Lorio. Coach, congratulations on the win. This one, all right. Work in progress. Welcome to the Fairlife Core Power Protein postgame report alongside the victorious coach and Kyle Collins. Well, Coach, you weren't expecting to have this game tonight, but you still managed to pull everything together, logistics and everything, and come on the road and get the win. How did you guys manage to set the tone early and get the early lead on the road against Lighthouse?
Well, anytime you get an opportunity to compete, it's a good day, right? So when they called and said, let's do it, I told myself, we're not prepared to do it, but I told the kids, let's go compete. So we came up here with a mission of, hey, we're going to mess up a lot, but I just told them to mess up full speed. And they get into it and play.
Now you've got a back-to-back setting of playing teams that have Lighthouse in their name. You have one of your rivals in the Lighthouse Homeschool Warriors next week on the road. The job is done tonight on getting the victory, but what's the plan next week against J.J. Duarte and company?
We're going to just go back to work. Try to figure out what we can do to break their tendencies. Every week is a challenge.
And now, for the first time this year, we're having the extreme player of the game afterwards is nominated by the coaches. So we have TJ Lorio. How proud were you, Coach, of his performance in tonight's contest?
Listen, I'm not proud of TJ, the kind of man he is, then the player he is, the fact that he's a football player is just it's just icing on the cake. TJ has had some injuries that he's had to overcome, and I knew he'd be lightning tonight. He really was for us.
Well, TJ, you're the first in the edition. If we could get the shirt on camera, you are the Fairlife Core Power Protein Extreme Player of the Game for 2021. Congratulations on your performance. Yeah, go, if you could fit it over the shoulder pads or anything, try to get the shirt on and everything. But congratulations. How did you feel about your performance tonight and all the opportunities you had, the touchdowns, the scoring? How did you feel about your performance tonight?
I felt like I did decent on the running, but my scoring wasn't where I wanted it to be tonight. That was about it.
How proud are you of the rest of this team for getting the victory in the fashion you did, and especially on the road?
I'm very proud because we
Now, this is part of the Fairlife Core Power Post game. We've got some samples for you of some protein shakes to help you recover from. So we got several options, but the major ones, there's vanilla, chocolate, and you could try their flavor of strawberry banana, but we also have some other ones. So which one are you most interested in? All right, let's go ahead and crack it open. Just to make sure you don't have any lactose issues, right? It is lactose free, but go ahead, take a drink. What do you think, sir? Cooler. That's TJ Lorio, your first Fairlife Core Power Protein Extreme Player of the Game. Congratulations to you. Congrats to the rest of the Freedom Cowboys for next. Look at the joy there. All right. Well, I think that set the standard high for how the players and the team should react whenever we give a post-game player of the game.
Man, I'm expecting that energy every game now, kids.
South Haven or Zion, if you're watching this, you know how to act tomorrow. Well, speaking of tomorrow, but before we get into that, any final thoughts on this game between Freedom and Lighthouse?
Man, I thought Lighthouse maybe try something to come back, but looks like I was wrong. But, you know, that's football. It happens. Either you're going to make an impact and change, or you're just going to lose by, 40 points?
It's unfortunate for Lighthouse, but they have a chance to recover as next week they face their division rival in the South Haven Christian School. School Patriots as they're still meeting at the edge of the field. But tomorrow, several games active in the 8-man football world. But tomorrow, we will be in Springfield for the South Haven Patriots colliding with the Zion Christian Academy Eagles. What can we expect from that matchup? It's Zion's debut in 8-man football, but also South Haven looking for vengeance as they were the runner-up for the state championship last year.
Well, I think South Haven will probably come out very strong, but then again, Zion looked great in that jamboree on my first look at him, so we'll see how that goes.
Ready to get some food?
Oh, yeah. I'm ready to go. I'm a big fella. You already know I love to eat.
First game in the books for Brendan. First game for us with all the new setup and all the hardworking men and women who made this so successful. On behalf of Jerry Jr., James Shannon upstairs, Brendan Daniel, as well as Audrey Green, who will be joining us the rest of the season. I'm Spencer Thompson. Final score, 66-26. The Freedom Cowboys get it done on the road. We'll see you tomorrow for Zion at South Haven. Good night, everyone.